Okay, Christian Webb here with a quick video, at least let's hope it's quick, in Lightroom regarding the actor's headshot selection process and how I actually go about doing that. So we open up Lightroom and I've got images already loaded in. I've already imported them. And this is the very first shot. This is Richard. This was a client of mine, an actor down in Atlanta. And let's go. This is meant for photographers that are looking at headshots and doing the selection process with their clients, as well as, I guess this will be helpful for actors as well to look at this in terms of how am I selecting headshots and what should you be looking at in headshots. So here we go. Let's start off here. This is the very first shot. And this is, you could tell, it's kind of just like, hey, what do I do now? The look on his face here, right? Which is great. Some people, they stand there and it's natural to kind of just be like, what am I doing here? Got a light in my face and this guy with a camera and he's being funny and whatever. So what I do is I'll take a look just to see where I'm even at, where things kind of look like they're even going from the very first shot. I can get a sense of the lighting and what I did, and you'll see the adjustments that are going to be made throughout, but this is the first shot, and expression-wise, it's kind of just whatever, right? So I'll just scroll through, and I just start to see what's what. And again, this is me adjusting lighting. I can tell just from these shots, I'm kind of just dialing in my settings, and he's still kind of there. Here, we got the head down, because between here and here, I coached him on that. So I kind of said to him, hey, drop your head a little bit. And he went from this range here to that. And instantly that starts to improve. Now, the very next shot, I specifically told him to put his head back. So you get this. I said, give me a shot. Just stand still and show me what you do as, if somebody were to take your picture, what would you do? And kind of just do your own thing. And this is what he did. And it's what most people do. They'll stand and they'll look up, or they kind of put their head back and their shoulders back. And it's more of a, pride kind of thing. And it's just normal for people to do that. So boom, I tell him, look, bring the head down a little bit. Come forward to me, bring the head down a little bit, and then you'll get this. Now, this might be a little too much, and you'll start to notice that when you say drop the head or lean in or drop a shoulder a little bit, they might go too far, maybe they don't go far enough, and you just continually coach that to get it where you want it to be, to where it looks right. And you'll know, over time, you'll start to know what looks right and what looks wrong, what looks too awkward versus what does not. All right. Here's a little more casual. What I do is I just go through these shots. That's a little too much, too tilted, a little too much. I don't like the stiffness of the way he's framed up there and the way he's standing with his arms in front of him. Next shot. Here, now we're in that range of, okay, solid headshot, great look on his face. What I will do from a technical standpoint is just take a look at my focus. Just to see where I'm at. This is a bit soft. You can see in this eye. This is technically the front eye. It's slightly closer to camera, but it's a little soft. Could I go in and clean this shot up? I've had situations where a client would look at this, and let's say they're in love with that shot, and they really, really want that shot. And I'll say, well, it's slightly out of focus. I could go in and I can do some work and still make this a decent shot, but from a quality control standpoint, it would not make the realm of what I'd actually want to work with. So even though it looks great, as far as the headshot goes, we could do better. We can get in there. Here he starts to work it even more. There's a slight head tilt here, lightens him up a little bit. Keep going. This might be a boring video for some, but again, this is exactly how I go through this. Here I'm making adjustments. I went to landscape. And I'm working with background here. You'll see the change. So to the left, if you're looking over here, this is a wall. This is a whole sliding. These are a bunch of sliding doors here with a building in the background that's giving me those colors. And I'm going to have to adjust him in this frame to make sure that I don't get this wall. I don't want that wall. Now, I could go in and I could easily crop this some, which I normally would, just to see what we get. It's not terrible, but it's not 100% where it should be. So you'll see that I'm going to wind up making an adjustment here It's not bad. Okay, boom. And we went back to this side, which I think he preferred. And again, I have the window where it should be. Now I start to look at his expression again, start to look what he's doing. This is not bad. Kind of like it. Now, I neglected to show you what I'm doing. Let me just look at the focus. Focus is dead on. We're good here. If I come across a shot that's, you've got this little rating system here, stars. So here, I'd probably give this 3. 3 is kind of average. Like, it's technically fine. It looks fine. It could work as a headshot. It's not blowing me away like, oh my God, it's headshot of the year, but it's a solid shot. And I know that I can go in now. I'll do my normal adjustments. I'll change this to portrait. I'll go in. Some of you may have seen me do this in another video where I talked about my initial corrections in Lightroom. I might add the vibrance a little bit. Sometimes I go in and deal with this color back here, and I'll up the aqua or the blue, whatever's going on back there. But I usually save that for Photoshop. So a few adjustments. I'll rate it as a 3. And then what I'll do, I'm kind of jumping around, but normally all of these images get selected and then they get sent out as JPEGs. So I'll go in, I'll do export. You may have seen this before. I have presets already set up for it. So JPEG proof flow, I call that. So I would, if I hadn't already sent him all the proofs, all of the images would be selected. I'd click JPEG proof flow, which would basically be a JPEG image. The quality is a little lower. I change the size. I add my logo to it. I choose the folder, and then I export all the images as JPEG proofs. Now, when the client has selected, or if I'm doing my initial selections, let's say, and I'm choosing the ones that I think are best, I go to my normal Photoshop flow, which is going to be a 16-bit file, PSD file, and I'm just going to send it to a folder. So I'll go here. I've already set up a folder on my desktop. I look for it. So here's RK sample folder. Choose, and I'll do the export. That's pretty straightforward. It's boring for some of you, I know. Let's continue. All right, now you'll see the slight differences here from here to here. Is it a massive difference? No. Are they both great, usable shots? Yes. It's just a very slight shift in the frame. So technically, I'd want this shot here, only because the eyes are slightly higher in the actual frame. So if I look at it here, I tend to, rule of thirds, here we go. I tend to put the eyes somewhere in this range here. That's the way I do that. It should be a little above, maybe, but within this range of this third, depending on what side I'm shooting on. That's how I do that. And I technically prefer that image to this one. But they're both great. So I could go ahead and star that one, but it's so similar, it doesn't really matter. I'll keep going. Same thing here. He moved his head away from the light. I don't know if you can see that. So my key light being camera right, and he angled his head too much this way, probably because I told him, bring your nose a little bit to your right, and he moved it a little too far. So it's that small, those little movements that you pay attention to and you adjust while you're shooting. Get him to go back. Okay, so here he is again. Just going through. Sometimes it's much faster than this. Sometimes this is out of focus. I could tell. Yeah, it's out of focus. All right, here's a wardrobe change. He's getting commercial friendlier here. By the outfit, you're going to change the look sometimes. This is obviously meant to be lighter, friendlier. It's a green polo shirt. It's more, hey, I'm that kid, that guy. And that's what this is. So, again, he moved a little bit too much to his right there. Here we go. Commercial, friendly, nice smile. I check the focus. It's not terrible. It's not perfect, but it's all right. So I might give that 2 stars and say, all right, let me go back to it. Let me look at it. I'll make some adjustments and see what's what. But it works commercially speaking. Eyes are closed a little bit. He's tilted a little bit too much here. It's quizzical. This one's not bad. This is what you do. You just go through these until something jumps out at you and you realize that everything, all the components are working right, which is another thing that I'll talk about that I definitely want to talk about right now. While I'm shooting, it'll appear, it will seem to some clients, well, hey, how long are we going to stand here on this position with this look looking at you? And it is a boring, monotonous thing when it comes to shooting headshots like this. It's not modeling. It's not moving around and posing and coming up with all these different creative looks. It is meant to do one thing, your headshot. It's, now I'm talking to actors now as well as photographers. It's meant to have casting and people look at your shots and call you in to get a sense of who you are, what you look like, what your type is, and that's it. So we're within this range anyway. You're within, from chest up. This is where you're at. And it's just getting the right, there is a basic angle and a basic look that's going to pretty much put you in your best, I'm trying to put that the right way. That's going to present you, within a picture, whether it's online or a printed photo. These particular angles and things are going to work for you as far as bringing you out. I don't know if I said that the right way, but we shoot numerous photos within the same frame, within the same look, the same position, because from image to image, you can shoot 10 of the same shot. Okay? 1 second. You can shoot 10 of the same shot. Shot number 1, maybe I'm off on my focus. Shot number 2, maybe he turned a little bit too much away from the key light. Shot number 3, his smile looked kind of phony, but the eyes were really great. He gave me the right look. Shot number 4, everything's perfect, but I screwed up with focus maybe a little bit. Shot number 6 could be dead on, everything's perfect, and it just works. So that's the one you go with. So you're trying to get a certain amount of shots. You're not shooting to get 30 different photos with different looks and different poses and all these different things going on. That's not the point. So sometimes you need to stop and explain that to the client, and it's fun. I mean, you make it fun, they get it, and when they see the images, they understand. But that's important to talk about because this is not fashion. And some people do sit down, and I've had people sit down, they want to model, they want to pose and move around, or they think it's kind of boring to be stuck in the same position. But that's my job. I got to get the shots that we need for you as an actor to get out there and get work. And that's what it is. Here, the flash didn't go off or something, so obviously may not be any good. Decent. He looked a little bit too much towards his right again. You can see that. It's not a bad shot, but it gets darker. If you look at it, it's a little more dramatic than what's going on with the actual wardrobe. Could someone use this shot? Yes, easily. But it's a little, because he's creating this shadow here, because he moved that direction, it becomes a different type of shot rather than a commercial friendly. He's also not, cheesing as hard here. So bad shot? No, not at all. I could go in, check focus. It's a great shot. I could use it, but it's just not. Here we go. Mouth, look at the mouth. I look at the tension sometimes in here, if it's a little too tight, or if he was in the middle of about to smile, or wasn't quite going to smile, or was giving a grin. I don't know. Also, I can see that my kicker light here did not go off. So you'll see it's just kind of dark there. There, it went off there. So there's a slight grin. Here we go. This one, you can see I already starred this one. I gave this one 4 stars. This one's got the right position, the right look at the camera. He's got just enough of a smirk there. It doesn't look phony. It doesn't look forced. There's no tension in his mouth. It's just a great sort of grin. The eyes are working here. It's slightly off focus, but I can deal with that just a little bit. I've made a few adjustments to it already, and this is a decent shot. I'll wind up using that one. Here he moved back. He switched wardrobe, and we're just trying to see what that t-shirt looks like. I don't think we shot much with it. That's not bad. Let me say this to you also. Richard here bought the A game. There are going to be times when you have clients where they're not, how do I say this? There's a way of saying this. Some people are going to just sit in front of your camera and they're going to bring it. They just have the it factor, and that's reality. That's not anything to shy away from. Some people are going to sit down and they just have the it factor. They photograph well, they take direction well, and as long as you're doing your job, you're going to get great headshots. Some people are don't have it. They don't have it like that. And you're going to have to coach them, and you're going to have to figure out and work with them to get the very best they can get. That's something to keep in mind, both as an actor and as a photographer. As an actor, no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear, oh, I don't have the it factor, or I don't photograph well. And you're not paying a photographer to tell you that or make excuses. But you do have to kind of understand that there are people who will sit down where it just works. Everything works. And they have that thing. And it's your job as a photographer to make sure you don't screw that up. If they're bringing their A game, you've got to bring your A game. But sometimes if they don't have an A game, you're going to have to make yours that much more to really get what you have to get from them. And I don't know if I made sense in what I said or if that was politically correct, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So I wanted to throw that out there. Great shot. He moved a little bit to his right. It's not bad. It's cheeky. He tilted his head a little too much here. A little too much. Not bad. Here we go back into landscape. I do a combination of landscape and portrait when I shoot, so you'll see the change-ups. Here's a solid shot. Dead on, at the camera, solid, just got the right look. Check focus, we're good. This is a solid shot. This I'd probably put 5 stars. It's 4, but I could use this. I mean, this could be headshot of the year. This could qualify, let's put it like that. Solid shot. Here we go, he moved. I think this was in between. Yeah, that was between changes. A little out of focus. This shirt, I wasn't really feeling this shirt. I don't think he was either. But we shot a few frames with it. This is not bad. This is not bad. 1 second. Let me keep. All right, here we go. Smile. Decent. Looks genuine. Could be better. Let's just keep going through. Out of focus. Not bad. You'll see up here, this is my key light. This is my softbox, which I will either clone stamp out or depending on the crop, I'll wind up going in and doing something along those lines there just to fix it. And you'll end up with that. And that's a shot. That's a 3 or 4 star shot right there as well. Personality. It's technically correct. It looks fine. Boom. Way out of focus on that one. What was I thinking? All right. So you get the gist of what I'm doing. You're looking for shots that are going to capture the client at their best, what they look like, and which shots are technically going to work as well. This is nice. It's got a little devious kind of sinister thing going on, which we look for. Solid. Again, personality, little hint of something going on in the eyes here. What's he thinking? What's he up to? And that's going to make casting look at this guy like, okay, it's not just the looks. The other thing with clients that I coach while I'm talking to them, it's not just the looks. They're going to know that they're looking for a certain type. All right, we're looking for this type of person, this guy or this kind of girl. The looks-wise, they're not saying the person has to be, they know when they come across somebody, when they're looking for a leading guy or a leading girl who's, gorgeous looks or somebody who's good-looking. It's not hard to capture good-looking people. It's how interesting is the person? What else do they have going on? So I'm not just capturing them as far as, well, let's just shoot them to make them look their best. It's capturing what they look like and making sure that they appear interesting and engaging on camera to someone quickly breezing through this photo. When they're looking through hundreds of photos, thousands of photos, they need to come across this guy and feel like, all right, he fits the type, but he also looks interesting. Let's call that guy in. That's what this shot does. And that's what our goal is. That's what we look for. So again, similar shot, slight difference in the position, but I like it. From here to here, here to here. This is more in your face, which will probably take, that's going to take lead over anything else. When it's right in your face and they're staring right at the camera just like that, we're good. Same thing, but not as solid. All right, let's keep going. Here's a little sheepish, not strong. You always want strong shots. Even if it's a smile, whatever it is, you want it to appear confident as opposed to standoffish or apprehensive or scared. All right. Not bad. He's bringing the eye movement here. You can tell a little too much there. Sometimes things will go too far, and that's what you got to pay attention to. Is he doing too much of an eye thing? Is he doing too much of a smirk? Is he doing too much of a lean forward, too much of a head tilt? And you just got to pay attention to that while you're shooting. And then when you're selecting shots, just look and see how it works on camera. Look how it looks in frame. Does it look right? Is it too much? Is it too little? And you make the adjustments. Cropping wise, again, here it's a little low here. I'd probably move this because, again, I kind of do this rule of thirds thing and keep everything right about there. And that would be my shot. Not bad. It's got personality. It's got charm. Here we go with the tank top. This guy wanted to do the tank top. When I first saw it, I said, I don't know if I want to do that. And then he comes out looking like Mr. Muscles in this thing, and it just worked for what he needs it to do. He was used to getting roles where he's playing like the nerdy kid getting beat up, all the time. This is what he told me. So we needed to toughen him up a little bit and give him that look where he could play. This guy could be Spider-Man to me. He's got the right thing for that. Here's a solid shot. Right at me, enough of a grin, it's almost bad boy kind of look. But it's not that bad. A little tension in here, but not terrible. I like it. Here we go back to, now some of the shots we wanted to do more, nerdy kind of whatever. So wardrobe change, a little more smiley in here, I think. And you just keep going looking at these shots. Grins, more of a grin. That's an in-between. That's a winner right there. Those are always winners. I must have been doing something. All right. So I shot 121 shots with Richard. Is that a lot? Is that a little? I don't know. It's relative. Somebody asked about that in a group recently about how many shots you take, and they were curious about. I think it was Justin, a photographer named Justin Ellis. What's up, Justin? And they were talking about shutter life and how many images you do in a typical headshot session. I can shoot between 100 to 300 on average. It just depends. Sometimes if we're going through and we're nailing the looks and everything's going fine, then it's quick. If it's taking a little bit longer, then it's going to be more shots. But I shoot very deliberately. I shoot and I manually focus everything, and I take my time with my shots. I don't just spray and pray and just see what we get. Here's another solid shot. I mean, just dead on, right? The camera, my lighting is perfect. If I do say so myself, it is solid. He's right there. Everything's clean. And this is not, again, these are not even retouched. These are just right where they're at. These are straight out of camera, other than the minor camera settings here, the calibration profiles. So that's actually the last shot. So that's it. So I don't know if I bored the hell out of you just now or if you took anything out of that, but ask questions and leave comments and talk to me if you want to know something else about what I'm doing and why I did things a certain way. I think this was a straightforward example of, it was pretty easy to deal with from beginning to end. I should probably pick a different session where it was a little harder to get the shots, or maybe it's taking me more time to figure it out. But hopefully you got a little something out of this, and I made sense for you all. So, Christian Webb, I will catch you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, say hello, shout me out. Do your dope, stay dope. I'll see you guys all soon. I appreciate you watching my videos, and that's it. Till next time.